can you dive into the right upper extremity blood clot that Zack Wheeler is dealing with for the Phillies?
Yeah, this one's really complex, and the first thing we have to deal with is importance. Baseball is secondary when we have any sort of injury like this, where there's even the chance that this is life-threatening, let alone career-threatening. Now, we've got a lot of treatments for this. They could easily take care of this with medicine. There are some procedures to kind of roto-rooter it out. It sounds terrible, but that's pretty much what it is. Um, but they've got to fix this clot first. Then they've got to come back and figure out why it had the clot. Is this something that happened in travel? Is this something that happened just from health or genetics? Or is this something from the repetitive stress? We see situations where just that over and over overhand throwing motion comes back and gets you. You're beating that artery or vein, that blood vessel there, and clots build up. It sort of leaks a little bit, and then it tries to clot up the way it would with anything. So they have to take care of that. After they figure out the root cause, then we can start looking at it. Is it just going to be medicine? Is it going to be something where they have to go in and remove a rib? That happens a lot and has that in common with thoracic outlet syndrome, though it's not the same. We've seen this injury more and more just because we have better diagnostics, but we're catching it earlier, which is leading to better outcomes. So with Zack Wheeler, right now they've got to figure out how to take care of the clot first. Second, why this came up in the second place, and then get back to the baseball questions.
Okay. Worst case scenario for, obviously we're talking about blood clots. I'm not talking about death and it going somewhere or seizures or strokes or anything. I'm talking about worst case baseball scenario and best case scenario.
Best case is they clear up the clot pretty quickly. They find a medicine he can deal with, and he gets back to baseball in a fairly quick fashion. That's going to be kind of variant. We've seen more of this in basketball, where Victor Wembanyama, Chris Bosh, his career basically ended because of recurring clots. He simply couldn't fly. And that is a worry. Now, Wheeler went back to Philadelphia, so they have to have some confidence that that's not a big problem, which tells me they're thinking this is the repetitive stress. And if so, they're going to chunk that rib. He comes back at the start of next season, but he's out for the playoffs. Best case, they just clear the clot. He gets back to throwing, misses a couple weeks.
Okay, I got to ask, because you're giving us best case. You said you gave us Aaron Judge was going to be out for a month, and now he's back in 10 days. He came back in 10 days. So we were all like, oh no, the season's over, and then boom, he's back and he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's not hitting for any power. I'm still convinced.
He went way back on the game I did in center field. He hit
he
hit off the guy's glove, but it went out.
He's not hitting this month
hit
much like he does.
He's hit 2 home runs, so that's a good sign. But it took him a while to get there. I'm still not convinced he's 100%. He's out there playing. He can get it done. I mean, that guy swings so hard and has such odd mechanics that I am still worried about him.
Okay, that's fair. Understood. All right, now we just talked about Roki Sasaki and how his rehab hasn't been going on. What do you see out of Roki Sasaki? Because his velo's gone. He was 98 to 100. Now he's 91, 92.
That's the big worry, is because when he was doing live batting practice, there was talk about him living at 96, 97. And we were like, okay, now he's back. Remember, this guy has had a lot of arm injuries. He's really young. He had an elbow issue the year before he came over. Since he came back, he's been so baby that we can't even tell, really. So his velocity was down. His control was everywhere. I can't think being in Oklahoma City made him too nervous. So this is a concern. He's got to get back to just pitching. And even so, at that point, where does he fit in? He's probably not going to be a reliever just because he has a long, complex warm up. Is he going to be kind of maybe a tandem guy? Do you put him in with Shohei Ohtani, who's building back up? He's at 5 innings now. There's a lot of ways this could go, but I think you guys had it right in the previous segment. He's got to pitch well before he can push his way in. They didn't spend so much money that they have to bring him up. They've shown they can burn money there in Los Angeles, but Sasaki's got a lot of talent. They got to get him right.
All right, a team that needs starting pitching is the Padres, and they need Michael King to get back. When a guy's rehabbing from an arm injury, and the knee is the thing that acts up without obviously knowing, did he tweak it somewhere or something else? There was nothing wrong in the MRI, but they removed a decent amount of fluid out of it, and he had a recovery. Is that more concerning? Obviously, if you see some type of structural damage in an MRI, then you're like, okay, we know what it is. When there's no structural damage, is it harder to diagnose and say, man, we can't just keep taking fluid out and expecting this guy to go 6 innings for us?
Yeah, you're exactly right. The question is why. Let's talk about the first thing. Is I hate the phrase no structural damage, because what's a structure? I mean, is bone structure? Is the meniscus a structure? I would say yes. I think most people would say yes. Yet in an MRI result, those things don't really show up. You're looking at ligaments, you're looking at bones. People talk about, we didn't see anything on X-ray. Well, the X-ray didn't show the ligaments. That's not what it does. It looks for bones. I think this is a situation where he was doing a little too much. He was focused on his arm. I don't think they were letting him pitch too much where he threw off the knee. I just think his mechanics were off and he was slamming that knee in. If you think back to Mike Trout with that bone bruise, this is likely something different. I couldn't find that he'd had any sort of meniscus issues before, and this is usually what that is. That there's either a small tear or a previous injury where the meniscus was removed, and now we're starting to see that bone-on-bone grinding in there, and that's where you start to see some fairly significant deterioration that can happen quickly, and the body's response to that is swelling. That's the fluid they pulled out. So, when that's happening, it's going to repeat unless you correct the problem.
FT fans, do you want to have confidence when you go out in public? Absolutely. We can't all wear a backwards hat like me, but you can get some True Classic fit shirts. It almost looks like, oh, wow, this shirt was tailored for me. Nope, it's every True Classic. This John is soft, it is smooth, and it makes you look a little jacked. I'm just saying.
And Kratz, you are jacked, and you are spot on. True Classic is the spot to go if someone's like, where do I get shirts? True Classic. The colors are fantastic. They've sold over 25 million shirts to more than 5 million customers. Their shirts just win. The feel, the tailored look, the price. We all wear True Classic on FT. I mean, Cam Maben literally can't say enough about them too next time we have Cam on. Hit up trueclassic.com/foul. Give it a shot. Upgrade your wardrobe and save on True Classic at trueclassic.com/foul. That's trueclassic.com/FOUL.
Let's go to another pitcher, Chase Burns, that kind of set the world on fire. What's the one thing you don't want to hear when you talk about a pitcher? Flexor strain, right? What does that always lead to? A lot, I mean, not always, but a lot of times, right? It's flexor strain, and then it's Tommy John. Like, how big of a deal is this for Chase Burns and the Reds that he's got a grade 1 flexor strain? I don't know what that means, but I know that means he's got a sore elbow.
Yeah, exactly. And this one is towards the elbow. They keep saying elbow rather than forearm. So, it's really on both sides, that tendon. I think what to realize is a couple things. First, it's a really low grade tear. There's 1, 2, and 3. 1 is, a little bit of tearing. 2 is significant tearing, a big chunk out of it. Grade 3 is, well, you got 2 ends. It's a full rupture. So they caught it early. They've got great doctors there. Tim Craig and his staff do a great job with this. They've got an MRI right there in his office. So they're able to check this. I think that they caught it so early is good. That Burns, a guy who had the Wake Forest lab when he was in college, I think he's used to dealing with these kind of things. It's certainly not good, but like you said, we often see it lead to further elbow problems. It's certainly a red flag. So I think they'll be looking at this in the offseason. For now, it's a question of how does the context of the team play out? Do they stay in the race and he comes back in? If you remember, they've got his teammate and he hasn't pitched much, I don't think at all this season. So they've got to be careful with those young pitchers. They've had a lot of injuries with those.
All right, I don't want to brush off elbow injuries, but I do want to brush off young pitchers and go to my buddy Josh Hader, closer for the Astros. Astros have been playing really well with injuries. Now they lose their closer. Is there a better, because it's a shoulder strain, I think is what he was listed at.
Yeah.
But, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say they're calling it a sprain, but it's really neither. It's the shoulder capsule, kind of that gummy thing that holds it in place. And some people say, it's cartilage, so it's not a sprain. Some people say, well, it's soft tissue, so we'll call it a. It's a capsule injury. That capsule starts to get tears in it, and they used to kind of heat shrink it, like you do with packages. They don't do that anymore because there wasn't much control. No surgeon in the world wants to do surgery on a shoulder capsule because it's so tough to get it right. There's a new technique where they kind of fold it over. You don't want that. You don't want injury to begin with. This one is tough for a pitcher, short of it's rotator cuff, shoulder capsule, and then teres major. Those are the ones you really, really don't want. This one's a bad one. He's not coming back in the regular season. I don't know if he's coming back this season at all, but they're going to have to get this right. And he is going to be doing a lot of work with the physios, the rehab professionals, and hopefully not the surgeons.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a scenario where this works out better because he is a closer and not a starter? Is there less work in the sense I've seen the rehab without surgery? Is it less work for a closer? Not just because he doesn't have to ramp up his pitches, but just that like work period where you have to like get that shoulder strengthened and not loosening, loosey goosey in the back there. Is it better for a closer than a starter?
Yes and no. It's you're exactly right that there's not as much workload, but there's more force. So it's a question of does one or two really hard things be worse than 10 things? It's kind of like the old do I want to fight 10 horse ducks or 100 duck sized horses? Both are not good. You don't want this injury, whether you're a closer, whether you're a starter, whether you're a position player.
Hey, Will, thanks for going through the long list here on a Monday. We saw players dropping down over the weekend and all that. Yeah, you got something? Final words.
Just a quick question. Kratz was mentioning not seeing a pitcher in season. Is this still true with the age of the trajectory machine where guys are seeing pitchers and their stuff hundreds of times, even before an at-bat?
Nothing can replicate actual pitchers that you're facing.
It's pretty close.
In my opinion, the traject does a great job.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about guys with elite stuff, those traject machines throw pitches out that you're like, for real? That's exactly what it looks like? Some of them are spot on, but some of them, especially with the unique pitches, especially when you talk about like a Roki Sasaki, that machine is going to try to throw something out there and it's going to look like a knuckleball. And you're like, no way, that's actually it. But I haven't worked with the traject and then actually implemented it into the season. So I'm not 100% just going on what people say.
Well, here's my big thing. Here's my big thing, and I never hit off the traject, but it throws all strikes too, doesn't it? So it throws all strikes. It might be different pitches, but it ain't throwing you the slider in the dirt. It ain't throwing you the fastball above, right? Or does it throw like it can throw like sliders in the dirt?
Yeah, it can completely replicate exactly what the pitch was from the data that MLB, kind of the StatCast data. And so if you saw a pitch in the dirt or a slider that went outside that you chased, it can replicate that. So you can see that pitch another 100 times and figure it out.